Hi, this is Chris, and I wanted to walk you through the first release of Ladder 99's DIME, or Data in Motion Enterprise. The goal of this project is to enable you to quickly and easily move data from one source to a sink while transforming it in the process. Here, the first release is available, and let's see what's inside that zip file. So besides the DIME executable, you have two important folders, which is the configs folder and the Lua folder. The Lua folder is used for extra Lua libraries that you can use during your transformation logic. And the configs folder contains the main YAML configuration, which is bringing all these modules together. And there's two categories here: sources, where the data originates, and sinks, the destination of the data. This notation here for each one of these is basically a YAML merge so that we can have multiple files. So let's take a look at the Ethernet IP source. So here I have a PLC at this IP address. It's a Micrologix PLC. And under the items section, we have the tags that we would like to query from the PLC and pass it on to our sinks. So let's take a look at, for example, this execution, which is the data that's collected from this address in the PLC, and it's a Boolean. And once this data is collected or pulled from the PLC, the script section would run. The script section is optional, and so is the address section actually. If the address section is null or missing, then the script will execute, and vice versa. So once we query this address, the data from this address, inside the script here, it becomes the result variable. So let's say we're querying the PLC, we're getting a true, false, true, false. This becomes the result in this evaluation. And here basically what we're doing is we're evaluating true and false to ready or active. This could represent the execution state of some component of the machine. Higher above, let's go through this script where we're still querying the PLC for a particular register, but the script is returning null, meaning that this section here, the result of this section, will never make it to the sink because any null value is just dropped. But what happens in this script is that we're leveraging the user-defined cache and setting the result to the bool tag key. And then further down here, what we're doing is we're getting that bool tag that we just stored up here, and we're returning it down to the sinks. Well, let's take a look at our MQTT source. Similarly here, we're connecting to our Shark broker, and we're subscribing to a particular topic, which is we're going to call the FFE4 sensor. And what we're doing is, because the data on our Shark topics is a JSON payload, we're decoding that payload and returning just the value of the sensor itself. We can also return multiple values. Here we're returning the value of the sensor itself, as well as the time delta from the previous reading. Let's take a look at our MQTT sync. Here, all the data that we're collecting from our sources is going to be published to our Shark broker under the base topic of IDS. We're also going to enable the HTTP server sync, which is going to make all of our data available at localhost 8080. Now let's see this in action. So we're going to start up DIME executable and go over to our MQTT Explorer. And let's look at our EIP source here, execution. So you can see that it's changing from ready to active, because the PLC tag itself is percolating between false and true. Let's take a look at the MQTT source. So here is the sensor reading. This is the value of the sensor. And here in the one where we're returning multiple values, we're getting the sensor value as well as the delta between sensor readings. We can get the same information from the HTTP server. Let's see how to do that. If you go open up localhost 8080 to items, we're going to get all the items available, but we can also EIP source one execution to get just this one item. So that's it for the introduction. There's a lot of documentation here and still more to come. At the bottom here is instructions on how to create a Docker image and run this inside of a Docker environment. And there's plans to add many more sources and syncs and extend the functionality even more. If you have any questions or would like to give it a demo, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You know how to contact me.